Scotland is a nation of farmers. For thousands of years they have managed the land to produce grain for our bread, oats for our porridge, and barley for our beer and whiskey. I want to show you how they do it. I've been spending the summer with three of Scotland's farming families in the north, the east and the west. They've invited us into their homes and farms at the busiest and most stressful time of the year. Our farmers have to deal with extreme weather.
Reality is too bloody wet, isn't it?
All right, there's a wee puddle here. Ignore that.
That rain will just keep coming.
This hole has been created by the force of the water.
Yes.
Completely.
Completely.
God. And rely on the support of their families.
It's out with your control, it's going to happen, you just absolutely have to make the best of it.
But above all, it's the story of the three very different machines they drive. From the old and battered,
Some holes you can just tape up with duct tape.
to the latest and greatest.
At the moment, we're processing just over 50 tonnes an hour, which, you know, that's pretty good going.
Because for modern farmers, the combine harvester is king.
You just kind of go waltzing into it, because if you go too fast and get stuck in the crop, then not good. Come on.
I'll also be dropping in on fruit and veg farms to hear about the challenges they face.
We're on day 52 of our harvest. We're very near the end of it, so all the peas that are left here are all the ones that we've got to do.
This is Scotland's Harvest 2014. Welcome to the Kintyre Peninsula. Everywhere you look, there are stunning land and seascapes. But it's also a remote and harsh environment at the mercy of Atlantic storms. It's not easy to make a living from farming here, but that's life for Duncan McAllister and his wife, Fiona.
Farmers aren't emotional people. We do farming because we like what we do. There's not many farmers that are businessmen, I'm afraid. We do it because we like what we do. Because it's old, the handbrake will not be on, because in case it seizes on. So I'll go and move it forward. If you could kick that block out on this side and the other side. Okay, no problem. Hopefully she will start.
Duncan hasn't started his battered old combine since last year.
Nee, bother,
She's a bonny thing, but she's seen a bit of life. Started first time as well.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't expecting that, of course. She has had some experience in her life by the looks of things, yes?
Yeah, it's not just in her youth. She's a 1984.
1984.
Made in Zweibrücken in West Germany. And but the rust is the biggest problem here. You know, you can see there are obvious rust.
Yeah.
But it's rust in places like this kind of thing. You know, the likes of that, when that rusts out. And more importantly, when the bottom of the
Under there.
yeah, the augers and that rust out.
I can see a bit of gaffer tape on there, just
Yeah, well, that's
keeping the.
one of the holes.
Indeed. And when you take her out, how much work has to be done before she's ready to harvest?
She's a bit, it depends how much. The worst thing we're doing is panel beating. If we've got to do, you know, mend. Well, there's one thing we'll need to do, is that's leaking. I'll need to see if I can see how bad that's going to be. But it's not a serious leak.
Right.
I might get away with that.
In an ideal world, you happen to have some money in your pocket and you think,
New one,
aye,
90 grand.
90 grand.
For a baby column like this, aye.
And you got her for 5 grand, right?
I paid 5 grand for her, aye.
And realistically, how many years good service can you see out of her ladyship?
I would think another 5, maybe 10.
165 miles northeast on the Murray coast.
I like yellow combines. That's just what I've been used to, which is New Holland. Other people like other kinds. And this is a TX32. It's one of the smaller new ones.
George Elder is upgrading the combine for his 100-acre farm. He's spending £20,000 to get a 1991 model of his favourite make.
Well, it looks clean, it looks really nice. So it looks as if it's ready to rock and roll.
Satisfied, George goes to collect the keys.
This is the precious moment. Thank you, Brian. Wish me luck.
Oh, good luck.
And I'll get the best of service from you if it breaks down. I always do. This is a very big moment, yes. Yep. My heart's in my mouth. There she goes. There you go. It's handbrake warning off. I would just like to say to anyone who has been held up by my combine or any other combine on the road, I do apologise, but there are certain things, it only does maybe 20 miles an hour. You do not want a combine doing 40 miles an hour. Not really supposed to stop in bus stops. So there's only certain laybys you can stop in that are big enough. So I apologise now, but my journey is equally as important as anybody else's.
It's early August and it will be another few days before George's crop is ready to harvest. But in East Lothian, an almost new state-of-the-art combine has already started work.
What we've got here is a reasonably nice crop of standing spring oats, and the harvesting is going reasonably well.
Hugh Broad farms 1,400 acres of mixed cereals on his own farm and under contract for 4 neighbouring landowners.
I have one full-time guy on the farm, and I then get in seasonal labour. The seasonal labour that comes in helps with the grain drying and the grain haulage. This year we've got 2 harvest students, and my daughter's helping as well.
Okay, if you turn round and head back down the hill, about 3/4 of the way down the other side, we'll unload a bit more, and that'll be that trailer full. She's not particularly experienced, but she's actually making great progress, and her confidence in reversing is not brilliant yet, but she's actually getting the hang of unloading on the move, and it's actually a great assistance because it just buys a little bit more time.
Since its invention, the combine has revolutionised the way we harvest. It cuts the crop and threshes it, separating the grain from the chaff. The chaff or straw is shunted along a conveyor and falls out the back of the combine. The precious grain is transferred to a storage tank, and when the tank's full, the grain is put in a trailer and taken back to the farm to be dried. But today, there's a problem, and Hugh needs to investigate.
Well, we've had a couple of problems with the grain dryer this season. One was a mechanical problem which we addressed the other day, and this is an electrical problem. This dryer was serviced by the manufacturer pre-harvest, and everything was working absolutely fine 5 weeks ago, and in the intervening period we've had vermin. Mice have got into this control unit and they've completely minced the wires, and there's such a level of damage that I think we're going to have to replace the unit, and the electrician's coming up this morning to help us assess it. We'll see where we go from there. While the grain that's waiting to be dried is not of a high moisture content, so that's not that pressing, the grain that we're about to harvest is likely to be very wet and will need to be dried straight away. So we must clear this backlog to allow us to progress with the next lot of drying.
I'll be catching up with Hugh and the others later as the combines start to roll right across the country. But there's much more to Scotland's harvest than just cereals. Fruit and veg are also vital crops. I'm heading just west of Perth to see one harvesting operation that starts in early summer.
The pea harvest begins in July and runs all the way through to September. Now, the Bruce family have been farming in Perthshire, Angus and Fife for 50 years, so they should know a thing or two about the humble pea. I think I'm going to get out of the way sharpish.
Peas can only be grown in a field once every few years. So, to ensure they have enough land to grow the peas they need each year, the Bruce family rent over 7,500 acres on 180 farms. With this much acreage to cover, the harvesters need to work around the clock.
It's a good challenge, yeah, definitely. A challenge for everybody involved, right from the pea samplers who go out every morning and sample the crop, right through to everyone here behind us harvesting, and right through to sort of...
I'm meeting Bruce Farms pea and bean manager Neil Murray.
If you're starting late June, early July and running it right through to September with these 6 machines, are they running all the time and running 24 hours a day to get them all in?
More or less, yeah. So occasionally have an odd night shift off, but in the main they're running 7 days a week, 24 hours.
That's incredible. So I guess, Neil, I mean, it really is like a military operation.
Yeah, we've everything planned out every single day. This plan was generated yesterday afternoon. It told us where we were going to be through the night, where we're going to be this morning, when we're going to finish this farm, and it's pulling the thing forward. We're on day 52 of our harvest. We're very near the end of it, so all the peas that are left here are all the ones that we've got to do.
And when do you plan to finish?
We're planning to finish on Friday morning around 4:50 a.m. at the moment.
So what's your market? Who are you selling to?
Our main marketplace is Bird's Eye, and we also sell to a packer who packs for all the retailers. We're monitoring our quality on a daily basis. We have our own taste panel.
You have your own taste panel, so you
Yes.
have people at the farm sitting there eating peas every day.
Every day, yeah. They love it.
And so I guess, I mean, how do you, I don't know, how do you educate your palate to know that it's the right peas at the right time?
Everybody's trained up to do the job, and once you've done it for a little while, it's amazing. You soon pick out the differences and get homed in on what we're looking for.
To make the prime market, the peas have to be frozen within 150 minutes of harvest.
Well, we've been on the road now for 15 minutes. I reckon the peas have been out the ground for just over an hour. Still got about 20 miles to go until we get to the factory. So the clock is ticking.
The load arrives at the cold store in Dundee in good time. As soon as the peas arrive, a sample is taken for quality control.
What happens to the ones that don't make it in the 150 minutes?
Well, they're labelled up as being a non-150 minute product, and are obviously a lesser grade, lesser quality, and have to go in less premium marketplaces.
Our batch of peas is good to go. They are sifted, washed and dried before heading into the blast freezer. Our peas have gone from field fresh to frozen in less than 150 minutes.
At night, when you're finished your work, these long hours, do you go home and have some pea soup and peas on the side as your vegetable?
Not pea soup, but I do eat peas quite a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, definitely.
Today is harvest day. Yes, first day of the harvest with the new combine. Yes.
It's early August, and up on the Murray coast, the weather is warm and dry. George Elder's son Hugh has come back to help with the harvest. Hugh's a policeman in Aberdeen and always takes holiday at this time of year to return to the farm.
I've got a touch of PhD at the moment, like.
PhD?
Yes, pre-harvest tension.
You get that every year?
I think so.
I do too.
Until you get going, there's always this doubt in the back of your mind that
Definitely.
something's going to go bang.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know?
You do worry in the back of your head.
It's very quiet though, you know, you just hear it and no more. But we know the sound, if you know what I mean. So
George and Hugh have a unique way of telling when the barley is ready to cut.
I can't actually hear it at the moment, but when it's really ripe, it clicks. You can, just a very faint click, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I can hear it over here, but...
Aye. And you just hear it clicking, it's in the heat, and you
Yeah.
know then that it is good to go, like, you know. But I don't know if I can hear it. Just very faintly.
My hearing's better than yours. I
Right,
see
aye,
it.
your hearing's
I see-
better
I
than
can
mine.
hear it.
Right, okay, okay. I'm just gonna start her up and hope for the best and see how we go. First of the first. Today, big day.
That's combine started. Basically what happens, he has to do a couple of laps. I can't go in the field at the moment because there's literally no space for me to go in the fields because I would be driving over the grain. So I'll wait out here while he cuts a couple of laps.
Nice combine, nice to drive, nice crop of barley coming in. The weather conditions could not be better, really, so it's ideal. Ideal. Yes, everything's going very smoothly, so quite happy.
Over in Kintyre, there's another 2 weeks to wait until harvesting can begin.
There's not much between them.
Duncan McAllister and his wife Fiona mainly farm beef cattle. He feeds the cattle on the barley he grows.
145 to 150 go to the bull every year between cows and heifers, and I'm aiming to sell about 120 a year and retain between 25 and 30 as breeding replacements to rejuvenate my herd. That's what the target is. This is the cash, for want of a better description. This is the end. This is what pays the bills and feeds me. That and the subsidy, of course. But we've still got to sell animals too.
Fiona has recently given up her job as a teacher to help out on the farm.
Well, this will be my first harvest, not working, so making the tea. And driving tractors, I think, this time. But normally I manage to avoid it.
Come on, Pet. Let's go.
He gets pretty stressed. And the weather, and the rain, and the wind, and sleepless nights when he hears the rain and the wind. Yeah, it's stressful for him. And the mood's not good.
Come on. Come on.
He's like a bag of bad tempers until it's finished.
What's that? Oh, I can get bad tempered, eh? I can get bad tempered, all right. Same as everybody else. Right, we're just going to feed them. Come on, girls. Hit the road. Come on.
Duncan mixes his barley with soya and other ingredients to feed his cattle through the winter and supplement their diet in the summer. He is constantly tweaking the mixture to get it as good as he can.
Well, there's an expression that my bank manager likes to use. If you aye did what you aye did, you'll aye get what you aye got. In my world, that's the good enough. I like to try and improve my lot and try and make myself more efficient and have my farm business more efficient. It doesn't always work, but that's what we're trying to achieve. Trying to better yourself in farming. Not for a financial view, but to make a better job, with in turn have a better financial reward.
However hard Duncan tries, some things are out with his control. To some extent, the timing of the harvest depends when the crop was sown. But the weather is the other vital ingredient. Here in Scotland, it's the west coast which bears the brunt of the weather fronts rolling in from the Atlantic. That's why it's wetter in the west. And as the clouds pass over the country, much of the rain falls on the mountains. That leaves the eastern half of the country much drier. This is good news for Hugh Broad here in East Lothian. His harvest is well underway, and the problems with the grain dryer are now behind him. Hugh needs the rest of harvest to run smoothly. He's had 2 years of poor crops, and the business is under pressure.
Last year was our worst year period. Each and every year you're faced with the vagaries of the weather, but you've got economic variations as well. In harvest 13 we had a combination of low yield and low commodity prices. You know, had wheat marketed in harvest 12 at £250 a tonne, and this year the current futures price for wheat is 120.
This makes it all the more crucial for Hugh to harvest his crops when they're in peak condition. It's dry now, but rain is never too far away, wherever you are in Scotland.
This crop we're aiming for a milling market, and hopefully these are going to become Scots porridge oats, and so we want to maintain the quality. So as soon as they've become mature, we're then looking to get the harvester in and get them cut. Looking at the forecast, we've got about 4 or 5 days of rain coming, on top of a crop that's really reached its ideal maturity, and from now on we'll start to get potential loss of quality, and so that's why we're keen just to keep pressing on.
As rain is about to move into East Lothian, the harvesting conditions in Murray are perfect.
So drive up and under, try and match his speed, and then he'll just start emptying it. The first one is always a bit rusty, but it soon comes back to it.
It's the season's first rolling transfer.
And again, we're just trying to start from the last area that he filled in the trailer. We'll fill it from the back, maximise the space. It's a bit strange when you're normally driving a car, you're looking forwards at where you're going, but when you're driving a tractor and filling a trailer with grain, you're always looking backwards.
Hugh heads back to the farm to dump the load in the grain shed. George's barley is destined to be used to make whiskey, but it's got to be good. The distillers will only take the best of the best.
So that was the first tip of the trailer in there. That's our first pile of grain into the shed, and then we'll go and repeat the process from there.
By the end of the season, this shed will be full to bursting point with barley. At least, that's the theory.
Basically, he's been impatient, not waited for me to come back, has pushed his luck and overfilled his tank, and it's spilled over.
The barley is precious. Hugh and George spend a few minutes rescuing the mislaid grains.
This is a schoolboy error, letting it overrun like that. I just folded the roof the wrong way down. So, inexperience with the new combine. That's all there is to it.
You'll never do it again though, eh?
Well, I'll never do it again, no. I'll never live it down if I do it again either.
Lecture over, and a few minutes later, the wheels are rolling again. In Kintyre, Duncan's working flat out.
I'm just checking for rot. If I stick my finger through it, well, I'll need to do something about it. I need to go and get the pub riveter or a welder and a bean can and start repairing it.
The first of Duncan's barley fields are ready to harvest. But as ever, there are a few wee things that need sorted.
The harvest fever is on me this morning. I didn't sleep very well last night because I knew I was going to this today. Some holes you can just tape up with duct tape. This has been one of them. It's not that bad yet. So I'll just tape it up. I'm excited the machine works properly. Then I'll not be excited when I go around the field and turn around and there's not much drain in the tank. And I realise the crop's maybe not as good as I hoped it would be. Then I'll be pissed off. Even more. That's it.
A few more patches, and then Duncan's in the field and ready to go.
Start of 2014 harvest. We get 5.5, 6 acre field. Hopefully she'll start.
As the cereals harvest is in full swing, there's another crop that traditionally is coming to the end of its harvest: soft fruit.
But that isn't always the case these days. The fruit season is being extended by some innovative farmers who are using technology to fill the gap in the supply of British soft fruit to the supermarkets. Very nice.
At Castleton Farm near Laurencekirk in Aberdeenshire, they've always grown strawberries and raspberries. But recently they've started a new crop: blueberries. Ross Mitchell runs the business.
Ross, tell me, why did you move into blueberries?
We started growing blueberries because we saw a market opportunity for late season blueberries. When the southern hemisphere has finished producing, it moves through Northern Europe. Poland's the biggest producer in Europe, and then after they finish, there's a big gap before the southern hemisphere starts again. So we recognised this window of opportunity and did some trials with different varieties to see if we would fit this gap. And lo and behold, we've fit it perfectly. So we're extending the UK season offer by an extra 6 weeks of UK produced blueberries when nobody in the rest of the world is producing.
You should really test the flavour, shouldn't you? Since we're here walking for a couple of minutes already. And
proof of the pudding.
oh man, it just explodes in your mouth, doesn't it?
It does, isn't it? It's fantastic.
Oh, it's beautiful. Really sweet, but you really get the tang of the fruit as well. And you're the most northerly producer in the UK, is that right?
We're claiming to be the most northerly growers in the world.
Castleton produce 1,700 tonnes of soft fruit, all grown on 240 acres of land. Their team of seasonal pickers, mainly from Eastern Europe, fill 110,000 punnets of fruit every day. That's 5 million punnets a year. This is big business.
But Castleton are not content to stop there. They're in the middle of a trial to see if they can produce cherries on a commercial scale. And by the looks of things, it's going pretty well so far.
So we're trying to mimic what we're doing with the blueberries by extending the UK offer of cherries for an extra 3 to 4 weeks after the English season is finished. So this is a variety called Lapins, which is very dark, very sweet, large fruit, very succulent.
Is that the only ones you grow here?
No, we grow 5 different varieties. We're trialling different varieties to get different seasons, so we'll be picking cherries for 6 weeks up in Scotland.
How successful has this been then, moving into cherries?
It's still early days yet. Our oldest plantation's only 4 years old, but hopefully we're going to make it work anyway.
The cherry trial at Castleton has had investment and support from Marks and Spencer. Their soft fruit buyer is Bill Davies.
Well, we've been with Ross for nearly 10 years now, and first as a soft fruit grower, but we wanted to try and extend our cherry season, our UK cherry season, and Ross here had perfect conditions, and because he's such an innovative grower, he was happy to try a new crop, and the result, as you've seen today, has been fantastic.
And what are you looking for in the perfect cherry?
Wow. Colour and a really, really good flavour. We try and sell the biggest, sweetest, juiciest cherries, and I think that says it all really. That bite and that flavour and that first bite is what's so key.
And Ross is delivering it.
And Ross, well, look what's on the tree. Ross is delivering it, and people buy with their eyes as well, and the cherries just look absolutely stunning at this time of the year.
The end of the first week in August, and so far the summer's been great for crops. Just the right mix of sunshine and rain. But just as the grain stores are starting to fill, the weather takes a dramatic turn for the worse.
We're keeping an eye on this area of low pressure. It is ex-Hurricane Bertha.
It's not looking nice.
We knew this remnants of Hurricane Bertha were coming. We thought we just might miss it.
And you can see on the radar and satellite pictures those swathes of cloud, heavy bands of rain.
The forecast on the BBC is dire.
Some further heavy rain for parts of Murray and Western Aberdeenshire.
That rain will just keep coming.
That is bad news. That is really bad news for us.
Over the weekend of the 9th and 10th of August, Murray takes the brunt of Bertha. This was an unusual storm. The position of the jet stream drew the weather system across central and southern England, before heading into the North Sea and then curling back on itself, hitting the northeast of Scotland worst of all.
That is serious. That is serious. If the rain stops now, that'll take, I estimate, 5 to 7 days before we can get going again, by the looks of it. I mean, the colour's still there, it's not too bad. It's flattened little bits a bit more, but we can easily pick that up with the combine. That's not fatal. It's just frustrating to see it sitting there, getting 4 inches of rain dumped on it overnight.
With no prospect of harvesting for at least a few days, George retreats into the kitchen with his wife, Kate.
There's nothing you can do about that. It's out with your control. It's going to happen. You just absolutely have to make the best of it. And we'll just sit it out, and when the weather improves, everything will dry up and hopefully we'll get the rest of the crop cut. You've got to remain optimistic about it.
Hope for the best.
Glass half full.
Glass half.
East Lothian has escaped the wrath of Bertha. Here it's now warm and dry, and Hugh is cutting wheat.
At the moment we're processing, well, it's just over 50 tonnes an hour, which, you know, that's pretty good going. If the moisture would drop a little bit more, then we could increase that output still further, but it's quite respectable.
Today's a good day with the weather, so they're cracking on, so I'm just getting their tea for later on.
While Hugh drives the machine, his wife Anna feeds the troops.
Got beef stew tonight from the local butcher, just doing some veg to go with it. Everyone has a role to play at harvest time, and keeps everything ticking over nicely if you all pull together. I get the easy deal. I prefer cooking to driving machines, and I think I'm better at it, so everyone does what they're best at.
Picked up quite a vibration, Gary, since went through that green patch back up there, so I'm going to have to stop and have a look and see what's causing it all when I get to the end here.
Suddenly, something isn't right.
The vibration just got worse and worse, and it came up with a warning symbol saying the grain elevator was slow, so I know roughly which area to go and have a look on the machine, but we'll need to go and investigate. There's a fundamental problem there.
Tractor man Gary arrives to lend a hand.
There's a green patch. I think a foreign body's gone through the machine and it smashed the rotary knives on the straw chopper, as well as some stationary knives, and the debris has gone into the returns mechanism on the harvester and it's jammed it. Right, get going.
It didn't sound good now.
It's almost like there's a shaft bent, do you know that, when you see it? There's a lot of vibration coming off of this one here.
That's gone through.
Oh, yeah. As it's coming off that pulley, it's kicked across. It's all going across.
Well, right, definitely a workshop job. Right, shut all the panels up. Those things can go in the bucket. Hi, Jock. Yeah, but we're starting to get to the bottom of the problem. The straw chopper shaft has moved sideways in the machine, and it's the drive shaft that's wrong. It's thrown the belt off, and for some reason the whole shaft has moved through. You know where you clutch it to change from the low speed to the high speed? Something fundamental has gone wrong there. Would you be able to come up and have a look and assess it more thoroughly?
you know, we just want to either get it resolved ASAP or see if we can get hold of another machine, because it's a bit of a disaster.
Until the specialist engineers can strip the combine down, Hugh won't know the extent of the problem. But this delay is the last thing he needs.
Stick the compressor on, will you? I want the air gun, it's just there, Neil. It's a bit grey. It's dry, but it's a bit grey, and it forecasts for sun. And it's frustrating because it's not sunny. And I don't think, I'll be surprised if it'll do. The sun will need to come out, and then we'll be on.
Duncan's been helped by his son Neil, who he hopes will one day take over the farm.
You would want me to go to college, but I wouldn't need to go to college to do it. I wouldn't say. Should. Don't want to, basically.
Hey, you'd be better. If you're going to be a farmer, you'd be better going to college.
Yeah, but I wouldn't need to. By the time you're dead and you stop telling me what to do, I'll know everything. So.
Okay.
It's funny, isn't it?
Duncan's combine has been idle for more than a week while he had to wait for his next fields of barley to ripen. Conditions aren't ideal, but he can't bear to wait any longer.
You know, you're running through your feet through the grass and it's dry, you know? All right, there's a wee puddle here, but ignore that. It's fairly dry down there. Not perfectly dry, but it's fairly dry. We'll try it. We'll try it once we're in the field. It's questionable whether it's hard enough, you know? We'll try it.
With just a few hundred metres cut, Duncan's combine is not happy.
There's a belt come off. I don't know why it's come off. I think I've choked the drum. Something's gone wrong anyway. Then we'll get a boiler suit in the toolbox. Ugh.
It doesn't take long to find out what's wrong.
Oh, that's not what we want to see.
The combine is clogged up with wet straw.
Let me see. I told you so. I told you it was too wet.
And as you can see, underfoot, this is what Bertha brought with it.
Pretty squelchy.
Pretty squelchy.
It's the 24th of August. George Elder's patience has been tested to its limit. He hasn't been able to combine for 2 whole weeks after the flooding caused by the remnants of Hurricane Bertha.
This is the aftermath or the consequences of Bertha, obviously. 4 or 5 inches of rain landing everywhere up on the hills, and the muckle burn is just through the trees there.
Right.
Couldn't cope, so it just comes spewing out, digs a hole, and as you can see, distributes gravel everywhere.
So the water, this water isn't normally there. That's all come from the burn.
No, that has come out of there. Yes, this would normally be barley, as you can see.
So this hole has been created by the
Yes.
force of the water.
Yes.
Completely.
Completely. Yes.
God. The flood caused by the burn breaking its banks is jeopardising a number of acres of George's barley. If he can't get it harvested soon, it won't be good enough to be sold at a premium price to the whisky industry. If he can't harvest it at all, he'll lose thousands of pounds.
So you reckon there's about 10 acres here.
We think there's about 10 acres.
And what are we, £165 per tonne?
£165 per tonne is about the going rate.
2 tonnes per acre.
2 tonnes per acre. At least.
3,300 quid. And just this
£300 just sitting here, going to waste at the moment, or, you know, hopefully we'll get it. Hopefully. I'm not going to risk any more of that
The yellow combine is poised, ready to attack the boggy field. But George is concerned she may end up consuming more than barley.
This is what you get. Debris strewn all through your crop. So, which is pretty harmless, but not to a combine. Combine will swallow that. We'll see what we can get without getting stuck. And you have to go slow, not for the crop itself, but you just kind of go waltzing into it, because if you go too fast and get stuck in the crop, then not good. So you just have to tread carefully. Come on.
George's day goes from bad to worse. At the other end of the field, younger son Gavin has got his tractor well and truly stuck in the muck.
That's just not funny, Ken, really. What? Getting stuck, I mean, it's just ridiculous, like, you know. Yes. What you didn't do, see the green button there? Yeah. That's four-wheel drive. And it's in, it's in now, see? So
four-wheel drive now?
Yes.
So
yes. Well, leave it in four-wheel drive in the field. Yeah. But when you're going up the farm road, just knock it out, like you can. But that would have helped. But no, it's all right. But you know, Ken, you might have got stuck anyway. I don't know, Ken.
Okay, here's the. Oh my goodness! I almost feel quite bad about coming in and talking about this, but this is the problem. I take it.
Hugh's combine has now been out of action for 24 hours.
What's happened is this is a drive shaft that comes through from the engine. So this is the power train coming through to drive the grain elevator and the rethreshing mechanism. And the shaft has failed. It's an unusual breakdown, but it's one that had it's going to take several hours to repair.
Right.
The key with all these breakdowns is things go wrong, but it's how quickly we can respond to it and how quickly we can get it up and running. We're very fortunate the local dealership has come in quick. They've organised the spares. They're now stripping the broken bits out, and they're going to get the replacement bits in.
And will there be a financial implication for this, do you think?
Fortunately, this is a relatively new machine, and so it's still under warranty. I've yet to come across a machine that doesn't break down, and the key is how quickly we can get it going again.
Not as quickly as Hugh would like.
The parts eventually came in over the weekend, and unfortunately there was another problem. When the shaft snapped, it damaged the rotor on the straw chopper, so the straw choppers had to be replaced as well. The dealers and the manufacturers have been really helpful in the interim, have allowed us to use their demonstration harvester, which is what we're in today. So it's not quite as big as our own harvester, but at least it allows us to keep the wheels turning.
We're flat out now, and we'll be until October, so plenty to do for everyone, and just getting the tea ready for everyone who works on the farm.
Because it's a great harvesting day, we're going to push on into the evening as long as we can, and hopefully the weather holds and the wheels keep turning. It's you always have to add that caveat in farming, weather permitting, and I think there's also an added caveat of machinery permitting as well.
This is where they'll eat their tea tonight. Pop it in the fridge and they can microwave it up when they're ready.
We're missing our own machine a bit. This smaller machine's doing a great job, but it's probably working at least 25% less output than our own machines. But 75% progress is better than none. We've had a good harvesting day today and made a bit of progress, but we're going to keep going for a bit longer if we can, because the moisture of the grain's quite low now, and if we can harvest in these conditions we save quite a lot of drying. So yeah, we're just going to keep the wheels turning and about 9 o'clock now, but we'll, if we can, push on for another few hours yet, but time will tell.
Early September, and as the days start to shorten and the temperature begins to fall, the last crop to be harvested is tatties.
Last year was a dreadful one for potato farmers. There were reports that tens of thousands of tons of potatoes were simply dumped because there wasn't a market for them. Fingers crossed that 2014 will be better. I'm on my way to Perthshire to the Greer family farm. How's it going?
Good,
nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks very much indeed.
I'll give you that.
We'll
have a look around, will we?
Definitely. This looks lovely. It's my colour, matches my eyes.
Pete Greer is the fourth generation of his family to farm here. His father planted his first acre of new potatoes in 1973. 40 years on, the operation has grown substantially.
Pete, tell me, how many acres of tatties are you growing here?
In Perthshire and Angus, we're growing about 900 acres of potatoes for the fresh market, but also we grow about 400 acres up in the Black Isle east of Ross, and that's predominantly for certified seed.
Scotland produces over 1.1 million tonnes of potatoes every year. That's shed loads of tatties, about 550 million pre-packed supermarket bags. Pete's taking me to see a field of potatoes that are a few weeks away from being ready to